All right, and we are live. Hey, happy today is Tuesday, right? Today is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic. And a topic that really frustrates and brings a lot of anxiety among software developers. And this topic relates to harsh truth about algorithms and data structures, legal questions, technical interviews, and we going to talk about it. And here's the thing: if you're not familiar what is algorithms and data, if you're not familiar with LeetCode platform, right? What is LeetCode? LeetCode is a platform where you can practice coding questions. So it's various coding questions that were normally collected from big companies such as Amazon, Meta, Google, you name it. So like normally provided from the community. So like that's the leak code. So and they're focusing on algorithms and data structures, and they have like different difficulty level, like medium, hard, easy. And normally like their easy portion is normally pretty challenging, it's normally pretty hard, right? So, and we're going to talk about it. And as you're joining, right, before we start diving in way deep in algorithms, data structures, and technical questions, say hello. Tell me where you're watching me from. And this is an excellent opportunity for y'all to network. So, comment on the live stream where you're watching me from. Say hi, say hello, and also see the comments. And as you go through the comments, connect with people who commented, connect with people who comment, because this is how we network here on LinkedIn. Uh, Live streams are amazing opportunity to network, and it's amazing opportunity to connect with other people. So please tell me where you're watching me from. Also, I just had a I just had a coaching session with one of my clients, and we actually talked about link and algorithms. Engagement is everything. Okay, engagement is everything. It's a networking platform, and it helps you in the long run. So definitely drop me a comment and tell me where you're watching me from. And also, if you have questions, right? You're watching me, you might have a question. Drop your questions in the chat. So I will address questions later, like when I talk about Q&As. So let's dive in. Let's dive in and talk about algorithms and data structures. And if practicing legal questions will bring you a job as a software developer. So we know there are different styles of interviews, right? There are different styles of interviews. So there are styles. There's an interview style when they interview you for your craft, for your specialty, for what you actually do. So, and this is a lot of companies also prefer that type of interview. Hello, Karen. Hello, Dimitri. Hello, Rashad. Hello. I see a lot of folks from Seattle. What's up, Seattle crew? So there's a style of interviews where they focus on your craft. They want to make sure that you know what you're talking about in terms of your craft, in terms of your specialty. And there's also interview style when they ask you computer science fundamentals, algorithms, and data structures. Uh, and When it comes to algorithms and data structures, there's different level, right? And there are companies who might ask you like very elementary question. And there are companies who might ask you questions that are a little bit more difficult or challenging. There are companies who like literally copy a little question and might ask you. So Let me tell you a little story to demonstrate, to look, to kind of like set up the stage. Okay, we're gonna set up the stage. Uh, and When I was interviewing for jobs, right? I've been in tech since 2016, and I've been to all different kinds of interviews. So I started as a QA engineer, right? And now I'm a senior iOS developer. And um, as always, as many people experience that, I had I had struggled with LeetCode style questions, with algorithms and data structures, right? No matter how easy, no matter how hard, my first question was my first interview when they used algorithmic style interview was with Amazon, and the task was to reverse the string. So basically, my name Eugene. Um, Make it reverse, right? Like reverse the string, um, make it backwards. Another task was remove duplicates from the string, remove duplicates from my name. And in both interviews, right? And it was a little bit earlier in my career, and I got absolutely stuck. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say anything. And after that, I felt awful. And we're talking about imposter syndrome. And those interviews normally would bring me down. And I would really feel bad about myself that I'm not a good engineer, that I'm not a good developer, that I don't know what I'm talking about because I can't reverse a freaking string. But in reality, there were more opportunities out there. There were more companies out there. And I like every single company that I work at, Fortune 500 companies, Alaska Airlines, T-Mobile, Providence, Nordstrom, um, what else? Like those big guys, medium-sized startups like such as Kobe Marketing, smaller startups such as KRF, like one of my previous employer, my current employer, right? All of those big companies, they focus on my craft, on what I do day in and day out as an iOS developer. They focus on my craft. So this is the thing. If you want to land, like if you want to navigate your career, make career moves, the first thing that you need to decide is what is your area of expertise, because software is such a broad field. You can do literally anything. You can do backend, you can do front end, you can do machine learning, you can do AI, and different specialty will have slightly different interviews, right? Maybe if you are dealing with more complex or machine learning kind of stuff, or like working more on the back end, it might be more prevalent there because you gotta handle a little bit more complicated logic versus if you're working as a mobile engineer or as a web engineer, right? So like there, I want to admit there are different style of interviews, but also regardless if you're a back-end developer or if you're front-end developer, it's really important to know your craft. It's really important to be an expert in your industry, an expert in your specialty, in your profession. And also, right, if for example, if the backend requires a little bit more logic, a little bit more, you have to rely more on algorithms. And algorithms is nothing more but a piece of logic, how your program is supposed to work. And you organize that logic into data models. Like, do you have to use dictionaries, or do you have to use arrays, or do you have to use sets? And how do you optimize? Also, like the backend, right? to make your application really fast, you have to know how to optimize. So you have to rely on those fundamentals when you work with the backend. But if you're a good backend developer, it's something that you do every day, right? It's something that you do every day. As you are crafting your skills, as you are getting better at what you actually do day in and day out, your skill set also is improving. Also is improving. How can one build all right, we're gonna talk about logic here in a second, Mohammed. Like, a great question, but we're gonna talk about logic here in a second. So this is the logic, right? This is the logic. And also for my front end folks, right, and mobile folks and iOS folks, we also use logic all the time. I remember me building features, or when I am building features, I have to I have to utilize very specific piece of logic, a very specific piece of logic, uh, the, to have my application work correctly. Relying on Swift programming language, relying on algorithms. So I basically create my own algorithms, and that makes sense for me. And a lot of the times when people struggle with algorithms and data structures and LeetCode questions, it's not that they can code. A lot of the times it's difficult to understand the question, because if you read those questions on LeetCode, they don't make freaking sense. Okay, like, ain't nobody develops an app that does those things that they asking you to do. Like, well, really, when you think about it, a lot. And when you get stuck and when you don't know what to do, it's not because you don't know how to program it, it's because you don't understand the question. And another thing, uh, uh, sending good vibes and logic from New York City metro area. Thank you, Jennifer. And also, right? Um, when, like, it's really important to learn how you think, because a lot of software developers, right, this is a skill that we develop, this is the skill that we develop. We need to break down the problem, and before we jump into coding, whether you're working on your ticket, whether you're working with your client, whether you're working on link code question, you need to break it down and start think logically. Hey, I am super excited that you're here today. Hey, thank you so much. Welcome. And it's really important to break that logic down, right? And start asking questions, because by asking the right questions, you're already halfway there. You might be halfway there, because once you know what exactly you need to do, when you know what exactly you need to do, coding those things is not an event. And you may not get coding at 100% right, but you might pass that portion of the interview, because you demonstrated that you are problem solver in the solution provider. And what software developers do instead, they jump into conclusion. They start thinking, what variable should I create? What function signature should I use? What for loop should I use? Should I use one for loop, or should I use two for loops? Or should I implement it as a dictionary, or should I implement it as an array? These are, you start asking yourself wrong questions. Ask what it needs to do. Start with clarifying questions. And also, this is a like also like why focusing on your craft is important, because when you focus, like when you're developing your, let's say, an application, and I'm going to use mobile application as an example. When I grab a ticket and when I start coding, before I start coding, I ask questions. How it's supposed to work? What are the edge cases? And then I start thinking how I'm supposed to test it. Like I'm a big fan of TDD, test driven development. So I would like to start how to test. How do I actually validate? How do I keep myself accountable that it is absolutely true? And then I start implementing it. And once you do it over and over again with your craft, once you're good at what you actually do, then when it comes to like coding problems, right? Then you start breaking those problems down as you normally would your normal coding challenges and your normal coding problems. And this is why in my coaching program I teach people how to think. I give them um, I give them a challenge. For example, not LeetCode challenge. Not I don't do LeetCode, but I give them a challenge that they would normally face on the job, and I ask them to provide me a solution and architect it. And a lot of the times, it boils down that we have to create data structures and create an algorithm, create logic. What Muhammad asked, how do you build logic? By asking questions. You start asking questions so you know how it's supposed to flow. And this is your logic. Those answers to your questions, this is the logic. And then you connect programming language, whatever it is, JavaScript, Swift, Objective C, C Sharp, whatever it is. You start connecting the programming language. This is important. This is very important to keep brushing up on the fundamentals, right? Like you should know what the collection types in your programming language. You should know what basic things a string can do. If I have to break it down, imagine a doctor, right? Imagine a doctor, and algorithms and data structures is like an anatomy, right? If a doctor solely focuses only on anatomy and doesn't know how to solve your problem, doesn't know how to cure you, doesn't know how to treat you, but they know everything about your anatomy and everything how your body is built, there's not much use for that doctor anyway. There's not much use for that doctor anyway. Yes, that doctor knows everything, right? That doctor knows exactly how your body functions, but that doctor can provide you a solution. And this is the data structures and algorithms. It is your anatomy, right? Like, and this is why I say you should spend time learning data structures and algorithms. You should spend some time, but you should always prioritize your craft, your specialty, what you do. And also, a lot of y'all get those styles interviews with algorithms and data structures because you're too broad. Like you would uh, also like when people listen to the imposter syndrome, right? There's a there's a there's a belief that you have to be good at everything and you have to speak to everyone, but in reality, not really. In reality, the more specialized you are, the more niche you are when you are a subject matter expert. First of all, you gotta illuminate the competition. In my example, iOS development, right? It's a very highly niche, highly specialized area, right? There are iOS developers out there. There are iOS developers out there, but very specific niche, right? Back in my QA days and test automation days, I specialized on test automation for iOS, super niche. And guess what? I had no competition because nobody could do what I did. Nobody could do what I did. And a lot of companies needed my expertise. And a lot of companies, they would have iOS developers to do what I did. And iOS developers, they hated it because they didn't know how to do it. So nobody could do what I did. So guess what? Algorithms and data structures portion, that it's not relevant anymore because they just need a person who can do the thing. For iOS, as an iOS developer, yes, like I would have those interviews, right? When people would ask me about algorithms and data structures, like that's like I had fair share of those too. But also, I would get interviews when technically it is all like algorithms and data structures, but also they will ask me to implement something Swift related. This is why, back to my original point, this is why it is important to prioritize your craft above all, above all. Because I remember I had an interview with one company and they asked me to implement optional in Swift. Swift has optionals, right? Not to dive deep, way too deep into that. Swift has optionals, and they asked me to implement optional. It was so much fun, and it made perfect sense for me how to implement it. I asked all the questions, I provided the solution, um, and like, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for niche. I was ICURN for 10 years, and I think I could be super valuable in a company develops charting in HR software. Yes, yes. Subject matter expert in health industry. It's interesting that you pointed this out because like I work at um, two of my best employments were at healthcare companies. And two of them were not that heavy on algorithms and data structures for me, my experience. Other people may, well, at least one of them for sure. I didn't have to go through those right questions, but once and also right like my background because my background is in therapy. You know, I'm a former clinical psychologist, and also that background in healthcare helps because not only I'm a subject matter expert in my field, but I also know the industry. And healthcare is trying to get up to speed with technology. Like we need developers, we need to develop those solutions. And again, right, when people say the market is down, there are no positions, high competition. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like you don't like stop looking at big tech companies and start looking into niches, into different industries, because airline industry is there, healthcare industry is there, retail industry is there. Those industries are there. Yes, big tech right now is trying to, excuse my French, big tech companies and big tech industries trying to unfuck themselves right now because they created all that mess. But other industries they like, are doing just fine. And other companies and other industries, they might actually hire more developers, and they may actually be in need in more developers. So, and this is so, and this is so valuable. Find your niche. And I probably have to do another live stream on how to find your niche, because like you can niche down on so many different things. Like I niche down on the type of development that I'm doing, iOS development, right? And if I want to really illuminate my competition, I just bounce back to test automation and do like test automation for iOS as a senior iOS developer. Boom, ain't nobody there. Like it's AMT, Blue Ocean, okay? It's AMT right there. Like there's no competition right there. And by the way, free tip: there's no competition right there. XUI test Swift. Yes. So keep your questions coming. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. And as you are dropping them in the comments, I do have coaching program and mentorship program for software developers open. I'm looking for 3 people. I have 3 spots available. If you're interested, link is in my bio. Fill out the form and I will get in touch with you, and we will schedule a mini coaching session and we're going to talk about it. 3 spots available. I have some I have my clients on my live stream, and they can attest that this program is absolutely dope because we're working on your executive presence, we're working on your online presence, and executive presence not just online in your resume, in your LinkedIn profile, in your content as well. I teach you how to create content right, not just like when you search content pillars, right, like you're probably gonna see generic information. Oh, like focus on what you do, and then focus on what people are interested in, and focus on different topics. No, like I teach totally different model that works well, and it's actually helps, and actually helps a lot of people to create content with ease. So, and we closing technical gaps as well, because we are in tech industry, we're in tech roles, and we need to close technical gaps. So this is why after we figure out your LinkedIn, like, because it has to be optimized. If you think that your LinkedIn optimized and you're not getting the responses, and you're not getting messages from the right people, think again. And there's probably some improvement needs to get done there. Executive presence, technical questions, how to negotiate your salary, all of that, so you can win. So uh, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to work with me, if you need help, if you need to develop your expertise, if you want to stand out as an expert in your industry that you already are. So don't listen to that imposter syndrome that keeps keeps telling you that something is not well, and something is not right, and something is broken, and you know. Embrace your dopeness. Grab the link, um, fill out the form. I will get in touch with you, and we're gonna hop on the call and talk about it. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. It was such a dope live stream. I appreciate all of your engagement, all of your engagements, all of your comments. So it helps me to spread the word, and helps you to bump up your LinkedIn profile up, because the more you engage on LinkedIn, the higher your profile is ranking. So, like, that's another free coaching tip for everyone. So, thanks so much. I will actually see you on Thursday. And on Thursday, we're going to talk about the best way to secure your tech career and income. So a little bit of a how-to video. So it's going to be dope. So watch out for the announcement Thursday, probably the same time. And I will see you later. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.